The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations. That's forming a...
Good evening and welcome back to The Blueprint. This is Lowe's Moore, your host of The Blueprint. Again, I want to say thank you up front for all your support of the Blueprint podcast. As you know, this is the last show of our second season of the Blueprint. I can't believe it's been 2 years now, in the midst of the pandemic, starting the podcast. And it's 2 years. We're celebrating our second anniversary. It's been great. I have enjoyed myself. I have literally enjoyed the comments that you guys have shared, the questions that you have asked. I've even learned through some of the questions and then some of the responses to those questions. I have learned a lot myself, during this process and doing this interview, interviewing individuals. I mean, I just love it. I love the communication of it. I love the opportunity to be able to give back in so many areas. As you know, the Blueprint is focused around the 7 spheres of influence. That means that God has given each and every one of us a gift, right? And sometimes God gives us multiple gifts. So we find ourselves in the sphere of influence, whether it's in the sphere of the church, right? In the church, spirituality, religion. We may find ourselves, some of us may find ourselves, as pastors, as apostles, evangelists. We find ourselves in ministry, and we find that our gifting is in that sphere of influence. And then some of us may find ourselves in the sphere of family. And everybody knows how important it is to have family in your life and to be included and a part of family, Lord. So you may find yourself in that sphere of influence and dealing with families, whether it be in social work, whether it's dealing with helping individuals deal with mental health issues, social issues. In that sphere of influence, you may have a gifting to go in there. Not all ministry is not in this first sphere of influence. So you might find your gifting in other spheres of influence and your ministry in other spheres of influence, like family, right? And then there's education, the sphere of education, whether you're a principal, whether you're a teacher or a janitor, you find yourselves to be in that sphere of influence and impacting people on behalf of God. And that's your assignment and that's your gifting. Then there is government and law. You may find yourself that God has called you to some form of politics, called you to be a mayor, called you to be the president of the United States. You might find your gifting in that sphere of influence. So, and then there's media. You could be a journalist involved in media, television. Communication is a big, big, big thing today, and also technology is a big thing as well. And then you might find yourself in sports, arts, or entertainment. I had an opportunity to be in the sphere of sports, arts, and entertainment, where I was a professional athlete, and of course, I transitioned out of that into what I consider as either education or family, right? Where I was the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club, executive director of development for the Boys and Girls Club as well. I found myself in that sphere, helping young people and helping families. And then the last sphere, or mountain, 7 mountains, 7 spheres of influence, is business and finance. So you might find yourself as an entrepreneur. You might find yourself in the world of business. You might find yourself in the world of accounting and finance. Whatever it is, right? We try to bring individuals who are in a sphere of influence or in multiple spheres of influence. So again, we're coming to the close of our second season. This is the last show of our second season, and you know, whew, it's been a journey. I'm not saying that it's been easy, right? It's been it feels like it's easy because it's something I enjoy doing. Now, I don't know the people who are helping me behind the scenes. Number one, I like to think this year, my son Lowe's the third, who helped us transition from, another group we were dealing with. They were wonderful with us. They were amazing with us. They helped us, kicked us off in the first year. My man, Anthony, right, and also Steve Fagaro, and the chapters rap, man. They just got us off to such a great start in the first year, and we were very fortunate enough to transition. And my son Losey helped us transition, and then my wife. I mean, I said Anthony, but it's not Anthony. It's Rich, right? Rich Douglas. Um, uh, Started me out. He sowed a seed. He sowed a seed maybe 2 years before I started. He said, "Man, you ought to do a podcast. You ought to do this. You ought to do that." And he sowed the first seed to the podcast, right? When I didn't even know what a podcast was. And so Steve Vaccaro and the Chapters Rap, I want to say thank you to those guys as we come to the close of this second season here. And it's been wonderful. I mean, and I want to say to my executive producer and my lovely wife, who stays on me. She's doing the shows each and every week. Occasionally, Losey comes in, he pops on, and he's doing his thing with me. But she's been the backbone of making this thing happen. So I want to salute her in this second season as well, because as you know, my wife has 100 things to do, but hey, she never neglects to give her very best in not only helping me, but whoever she's helping, right? I can assure you this. She's given it all that she has. And she's done that for the blueprint. So I want to say thank you, baby. Love you. Hey, you're awesome. And so as I digress for just a moment, um, and I didn't know, I wanna, before I get started here, right? I want to give a moment of silence to, uh, the tragedy in Texas, tragedy in Buffalo, and the many other tragedies that we've been having over over the last few years. And so, if we can just pause for a moment for those families and for the loss of those young people, and also adults and other family members in Texas and Buffalo, if we can just take a moment of silence. Yeah, uh, yeah, this is kind of tough. I wanted to start out by saying this quickly. I don't know if you know that the United States of America has a color code system or an alert system. I want to thank you guys for the congratulations and on the second season. But I didn't know if you guys knew that there is an alert system in America. And I didn't know if you knew that there was a color code. A few years back, when we had a number of tragic deaths of young black men in the city of Mount Vernon, I was a part of a group called the Peacekeepers. And uh, when we started to march in the street and we started to engage in the community, I didn't know this. I was like, why they pick this bright orange shirt, right? Why they pick this bright orange shirt? Well, I soon learned that there was a color code for America in regards to terrorist threats. And the first color is green. So if you see green, right, that means it's low. There's a low chance of that there's any terrorist threats. And then there's blue is the be on guard, right? Be on guard. And then there's yellow, which means it's elevating, right? That means things are going up. And then finally, as I am dressed in orange tonight for this, right? Orange is high alert. We are literally on high alert. And if you see the color red, that means we have gone severe, right? But tonight, I don't know. I don't want to make a decision or a thought or on whether we are. I know we are orange, and if we don't be careful, we could be in red. It could be severe. I mean, actually, when young people lose their life, right? When innocent people lose their life, and we haven't figured out a solution, or where there is a solution, whether or not we choose to use the solution, now that's another whole story, right? But I have to say we are on alert, and we have been on alert. We have been in orange, as far as I'm concerned, for a while. In my community, in the United States of America, we have been on high alert, not just for terrorism that's outside of the United States, right? But the terrorists that are inside of the United States. And I mean, we need to be aware of what's going on. And that was one of the first things that I learned in being a part of the Peacekeeper and having that orange shirt on, is that we must be always aware of our surroundings, right? Always aware of our surroundings and the things that are going on around us. And so quickly, I want to talk about solutions, number one, and talk about a change of sound. Well, I don't think it's a new sound. I think the sound has always been there, right? The question is whether or not we choose this sound, or we choose to transition to what I consider is a higher frequency and a higher vibration for life, right? I just think we've been on a sound and a frequency and a vibration just so low, right? When you're on that low foundation, you find yourself in fear, right? Not in faith, right? You find yourself in a survival mode, not a thriving mode, right? And so I want to be able tonight to change that sound, right? But by making my guest and I making some suggestions, right? Getting you to think about some different things that can help us transition as we talk about youth development and investing in young people tonight. So, and I want to one thing I want to bring up before I jump right into my next segment here is I want to bring up, and something that my guest and I have been talking about over the weeks, right? The difference between leadership and servant leadership, right? I got it's a little saying here, is by Robert K. Greenleaf. It says the servant leader is servant first. That means he comes to serve first. And he said it begins with a natural feeling that one wants to serve as opposed to wanting power, influence, fame, and wealth. Most of us desire the latter. Most of us are in the game because all we want is power and influence and fame and wealth. Many people, that's why they do business. That's why people play sports. That's why a lot of people do entertainment, because they want power, right? They want to do business so they can have the power over things and over people, right? They want fame and they want influence and they want wealth, but that's not a servant leader. A servant leader thinks about serving first, right? They think about serving first, right? Opposed to wanting to be served. And here are a couple of examples for you. Of course, Jesus in the Bible, one of the, if he's the Son of God, one of the things in the Bible, man, as a sign, right, of servant leadership, was that he washed his disciples' feet, right? And I was at a wedding a couple of weeks ago, and one of the parts of the ceremony, right there when they were getting married, the husband and wife washed each other's feet, which means that we are both servants to each other, right? And no one rules over the other. And I thought that was a powerful thing. And so when you look at some servant leaders, you have to think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., right? He was he gave totally of himself, right? Didn't think about death, didn't think about life, right? He just thought about, like, I'm going to serve. He said, I'm a drum major, right? And it says life is most persistent. An urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Not what I'm doing for myself, but what are we doing for others? It's not about me, right? It's about others. And then Gandhi had a statement: find yourself in a service. Find yourself in the service of others, right? That's servant leadership, right? And so I wanted to set the stage with that tonight, because I just think that, when we think about others, we change the narrative. But if all we thinking about is what we can get, right? Zig Ziglar said it this way: if you help enough people get what they want, you will ultimately get what you want, right? And that's a good model to live by right there. So let's jump right into this thing. Let me give you my word of the week. Although servant leadership is a great one to start off with, but I got another one up here because this is the subject we're going to be dealing with a little bit. There's the word of the week: servant leadership. Think about this all week. Are you a servant, right? And then youth. Very powerful today. And I don't know if you guys knew this or not, when you're talking about youth, and I heard somebody mention it, that in all the deaths that we've seen in the United States and throughout the world, right? I mean, young people, children get the short stick. Almost, if you 50%, and when you go to war, 50% of the deaths, right, are young people, right? I mean, man, I don't know what it is. I mean, I was thinking about in the Bible in the very beginning when Pharaoh tried to kill all the boys, right? And I was thinking about, like, Herod in the New Testament when he was trying to find Jesus and he tried to kill the young people. Who kills innocent people? Right? Who kills innocent people, man? When Jesus said that we should be valuing our children. Bring all those little children unto me. Right. And I've been working with you for a long time. So, I'm serious about this. So, and we're going to get into this thing tonight, but that's youth, the importance of youth. I think we got a couple of other things up there. Invest in youth, right? That's another thing we're going to have to do, we're going to have to invest in our kids. Right. And then the next thing is that we got our book of the week. Yeah, we got a book of the week, man. And Teresa and I, that's my wife, we were watching television, and early in the morning, and my wife was waking me up saying, "Hey, man, you got to watch this. You got to watch this." And it was this young kid up there. I think he was like 14 years old. And man, he was doing some amazing portraits of, President Obama, the vice president, Kamala, and he was just doing everybody. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get this book, but I got a copy. It's not mine. My sister-in-law bought the book. I have it upstairs, and I had the opportunity to look through this book. But if you get an opportunity, he was on there with Nick Cannon. Had him on there. 14 years old. I mean, this young man is amazing, man. He's been on a bunch of different shows, and he's an artist, and he does amazing work. And it's just an awesome thing, man, to see that. So make sure you get that book and support him. And then affirmation quote moment. It says here, this is the Hill and Pierce Harper affirmation and quote moment. It says the question is not whether we can afford to invest in every child. It is whether we can afford not to. Right? We cannot not afford to invest in our kids. Right? And man, that's another whole story. I mean, investing in kids is so important, and we're definitely going to be getting into that. So, and now our music of the week, right? You remember Michael Jackson put together an ensemble of men and women, great men and women, singing "We Are the World." I mean, and talking about our children, man. Just I don't know, go back in YouTube and pull that up, right? And pull that up, man, and listen to that. We need to listen to that over and over and over again, man. And they sung that song with such passion, right? And we need that kind of movement today if we're going to protect and save our children. And then our movie, right? Our movie of the week is Bustin' Loose. How can you forget Bustin' Loose? If many of you seen Richard Pryor, Cicely Tyson had a group of kids, man, that was that was crazy back then, man. If you haven't seen Bustin' Loose, it's an old movie. Go check that out, man. That's the funniest movie, and that's my movie of the week. I think I got a few shout outs. Yeah, I think I got a few shout outs here. Second anniversary next week. Next week we're going to be celebrating. It will be the first. We're going to be celebrating. Our second anniversary on next week, and getting rolling in the next season, transitioning into the next season, and we're expecting a new season to do some exciting things at the start of this third season. And then next week, I deemed it, nobody else deemed it, Black Men's Month, right? It's going to be Black Men's Month for the month of June. We're going to bring on some significant men to be on the show. As we celebrated a few months ago in March, we celebrated women. We're going to celebrate men. We're going to have my man Hank Carter on. I'm going to have his little promo on next week. Hank Carter on June the 12th, and Billy Mitchell, which is, man, he's the legend of the Apollo Theater. He's going to be on, and we're going to have a few other men on there as well. And so I'm really excited about the month of June. And don't forget, hey, that's the month where Father's Day is in. So I'm really excited about that. And I think I don't know if I have anything else. I think I'm good. I'm going to show this highlight right here, this video, and then we're going to jump right into, I'm going to introduce my guest for this evening, and we're going to have some fun, and we're going to get some information.
For the national anthem. Tonight's colors are presented by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. And as part of Garden of Dreams Night, singing the Star-Spangled Banner from Garden of Dreams partner Madison Square Boys and Girls Club, please welcome brothers 17-year-old Kyle and 18-year-old Anthony Johnson, a Garden of Dreams Inspire Scholarship recipient.
by the dawn's early light. What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad streams and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there, was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle and Anthony Johnson.
Kyle and Anthony Johnson, spectacular.
Hey, Anthony, want to welcome you to the Blueprint. What's up, man?
Hey, how
Anthony
you doing?
Johnson.
Hey, Lowe's, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Hey, before we get into it, I think I'm going to start out, man. I always have a curiosity conversation real quick. I want to know, man, what were you feeling when your sons was
Oh,
at the Ranger game? Talk to talk to us a little bit about what you and probably your wife was feeling at the time. Talk to me about that, man.
Lowe's, it was amazing. It brought tears. It brought tears to my eyes as I seen it, as you was showing me once again. What a amazing opportunity that me and Kimmy, who was my wife, was so proud of these two young men, of what they have accomplished. Some of the words that you were saying about the word of the day about investing in youth. And so that is so important, and I'm glad that we invest in youth and invest in your own first. And so once you can invest in your own, it's easy to help others invest in their future. So we were so proud and the opportunity through the Boys and Girls Club of having the opportunity for them to showcase their talents, because we have some talented young people out there. And so when the opportunity came, we jumped right on it. And I'm so proud of them. We are so proud of them, of what they have accomplished thus far. And like I said, the sky is the limit for them. And it's not just for them two, it's for everybody has opportunity to have the opportunity to sing in front of the thousands of people at the Rangers game.
Yeah, and let's delve into that even a little bit more, man, in regards to the Garden of Dreams, because I think it was Cal and TJ both received scholarships. Talk to us a little bit about what is, Madison Square Garden of Dreams, Beyond a Dream, and what it entails. How did they get into it? In regards to what did they have to submit, so forth and so on, in order to be involved with that. Because I think TJ won it once.
Yes.
And then I think Cal won a scholarship this year. So
correct.
Yeah, and then they got to go down to the garden and hang out with with John Starks and
yes.
and and a number of other people that were there at the garden. So talk a little bit about that.
The Garden of Dreams was first introduced to us through the Boys and Girls Club, to the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club. They was attending, and they had a music program called Notes for Notes. And with
Yes.
Notes for Notes is a program that is provided to our young people who are music, who wants to learn music. And so a great program, a great opportunity to for young people who don't they don't have to know music, but again, they'll learn how to play music. And then also, it's a wonderful opportunity for those young people who are looking, who's music inclined, and have the opportunity to go and work in the studio for free. It was only a membership, $5 membership. They can go and play and be in the studio to record, not only to record, but learn how to um, work the switchboards and the music boards and become a producer. And so it was a great opportunity that I knew about, and I jumped right on it. And so we traveled. We was living in New Rochelle, then we traveled to the Bronx, and then when we moved to Connecticut, we were still traveling from Connecticut to the Bronx because, again, when we talk about investing, you have to sacrifice some things, and so that was a great sacrifice. And so the opportunity came. Actually, it was like 2 years ago, but the pandemic kind of shut everything down because they had to audition. They had to audition for, as you said, for the Garden of Dreams. And once they passed the audition, then they had the opportunity to perform at Radio City Musical Hall.
Hmm.
And talking about an experience, another opportunity that brought tears to our eyes. And it was great for them because it was them and 22 other performance from the various organization that was part of the Guardian Dreams. And so it was a great opportunity for them. And they actually got the chance to kick off the show. So they kicked off the show for the
Yeah.
night. And so what they had to do is for the scholarship is, like as you mentioned, TJ received it 2 years ago. They had to write an essay. They had to write an essay, and the essay was both of the essays was about my my journey as I was battling cancer.
Mm.
And so um, TJ wrote about the first time that um, I had cancer, when I had colon cancer, and then Kyle turned around and wrote about when I had lymphoma. So I'm a two-time cancer survivor, and
Wow.
it was interesting for me because, again, you never know how your children are going through what they're going through as their father going through cancer. And so they gave them the opportunity to share their story, their side of how they was feeling, and really they encouraged me as I was going through cancer, of inspiring me to continue to, hey, we have to fight. And through their music, really, really helped me and saved me. Really, through their music, they used to come to the hospital and sing a song, "I Will Recover," and
Mm.
so that was a song that kept me going. And with my wife and with my family and friends, really inspired me. And so that was the essay they had to write. And then the opportunity came where TJ received the scholarship, which was a tremendous help. And then Kyle just followed up with the scholarship as well. So we have two sons that are in college. TJ is at University of Bridgeport, and Kyle's at Gateway Community College in Connecticut.
Awesome, man. Yeah, awesome.
And so,
Many people, you heard something about, we, of course, we all know Madison Square Garden,
yeah,
right? And we also know the New York Knicks, but
yes,
but we don't know uh, the Garden of Dreams Foundation,
yeah,
right? And it's
yeah,
something you should look up online because
yeah,
they do many, many wonderful
oh, yeah,
works with the Garden Foundation and the Garden of Dreams Foundation. So you might want to take a look at that if you have a gifted child,
yes,
right? Or you're looking for opportunities. You ought to take a look at that. And also, man, yeah, man, how important, since we're going to jump right into uh, talking about family, that was a good segue, a good transition, because man, when you going through, imagine going through and not having family, right?
Oh,
And you were going through and you got your wife and family, your mom, you got everybody supporting and praying for you and stuff like that. But man, when your children, your wife and children get in it, I mean, yeah, man, they're right there with you. So talk to me a little bit about as we go back and talk about young Anthony,
mhm.
mom and dad. I think growing up in that wonderful city of San Diego, man, I
Yeah.
got an opportunity to live there for a while, and so just talk about mom, dad, life, siblings, so forth and so on, and because we even got some pictures of where young Anthony at, man. I
Uh-oh.
know. Wait. I know we got some young. We got some
Yeah.
young man, and you look like, man, you spit. Kim, I know you went through. I know you went through some stuff to have TJ, but you look like you spit TJ out, man. Yeah, boy, I see TJ. I look at you now. Back then, man, I'm like, wow, man, you like a twin,
I
you
know.
know. But yeah, talk a little bit about family, man.
Oh, family was so important. And my story is that I was born here in New York. I grew up in New York, and my mother and father was here in New York. But there was an opportunity where I had the chance to go to California, and this was like in 1977 when I actually was. I think it was the blackout. When the
Mm.
blackout happened, I was leaving to go on the plane to go visit San Diego to live with my aunt. And so when I went to San Diego, my aunt and my uncle had two daughters, Tisha and Kathy. And so we started when I was there. I started growing. I started living with them, and then it came to a point where it was time for me to leave. And then I found out I wasn't leaving.
Yeah.
And the thing is that that was probably the best thing that happened to me, getting out of the hustle and bustle of New York and going to San Diego to live with my aunt and uncle, which was a blessing. For a while, I didn't understand it, but and after I got older, I did understand why my mother sent me. Instead of most people send folks down south, I went to the West Coast, and
Right,
so
right.
it was a blessing for me to go out there. And so I grew up in San Diego, and that's why I fell in love with San Diego. And that's when my friends, I went to elementary school, went to middle school, went to high school, went to junior college in San Diego, and then had the opportunity to. I was playing football, receive a scholarship to go to Oregon, and so I most of my life has been on the West Coast, and so which it was a beautiful thing. And you talk about when you was in playing for the Clippers. I
Yeah.
re- I remember you. I remember because we used to go through the Boys and Girls Club. I was part of the Boys and Girls Club, and how Boys and Girls Club used to get tickets to the Clippers game. We used to go every chance we had of going to the Clippers game. I'm a Clippers fan till today. I'm a Chargers fan. I'm a San Diego fan, and so again, that was the beautiful thing of living in San Diego. And so most I have lifelong friends. It's about nine of us that we stay in contact. That's from San Diego that I can call up, and I stay in communication with them every couple of weeks. We have conversation with my friends, my lifelong friends that have grown up in San Diego. So San Diego is my home. Matter of fact, I know my wife is on here now. For the last 5 years, for the last 20 years, I say every 5 years we're going to move back to San Diego. It hasn't worked yet, but hopefully, since I'm on broadcast, maybe we can change that.
Well, yeah, and if I can just intersect before we move forward, is that like, well, Kimmy's like pastor
Yes.
is life is here in New York, but I have to say that San Diego is heaven on earth.
Yeah.
if I if, and you know what? Let me say this too. let me say this too. When I was with the Clippers, man, they was giving them tickets away, man. They was
Yeah.
like, okay, man, you want to go? You want to go? They free, man, they free. But
Okay.
I'm glad the Clippers got better since since I
Yeah.
was there.
Down at the sports arena. I remember
Yeah. Oh
down at
yeah,
the
man.
sports arena
It,
there.
I remember when I first went to the Clippers, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? It's gonna be like this all the time, like that. So it was winter here, and I used
Yeah.
to call my mom up in in the morning, and hey, mom, what's up? And she would say, hey, I said, what's the weather like? She's like, oh man, it's snowing here. I pull the shades up. I said, I'm about to pick up some shorts here in a minute, in a t-shirt.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I know I had the opportunity to go. My wife and kids and family sent me to San Diego for 7 days, but I extended for 9 days. And so my wife was worried if I was going to come back, but I had to get back home. And so
Yeah.
it was okay. But you say it was like 70, 80 degrees and
All the
the
time.
time. And then you go to the beach and it's just amazing. And so to walk on the boardwalk, and so it was a great opportunity. So
It
that's
says
that's
Kim
San
has
Diego.
left the building.
I know.
She did not want to hear anything about going back to San
San Diego.
Diego.
And so
Oh man, yeah, that's funny. But talk about family now, man.
uh,
Talk about family now, man.
it's amazing. I have an amazing family. My Kim is such an amazing mom, wife. I'm supporter. My sons is wonderful. My mother-in-law is wonderful. I have my sisters. That's one's in Georgia and two is in San Diego. They really my cousins, but we grew up together. We don't even call each other cousins. We call each other sister and brothers. And so I have been blessed and surrounded by amazing folks that's really supportive, and we love each other. And so that's a beauty that you can really have a family that you admire and love, and they're so supportive. And so I truly have been blessed. And so I'm thankful for my family and having the opportunity to, as me and Kimmy met in San Diego, and because the story goes is that I knew her family on the West Coast. I grew up.
Mm,
My
okay.
my best friend is our uncle,
Oh,
and
okay.
so I have known their family for years. And so when the opportunity where when I met Pastor Kim um, across a crowded room at a wedding, and she had a yellow and pink dress on. I remember it till today.
Yeah.
And so the opportunity came where she came out to San Diego, and she was only supposed to stay for a week, but I convinced her to stay for another week by taking down to the beach where the water was.
Oh yeah, you get hey. First of all,
And
you get
so,
saved down there, and you
yeah,
get
right.
and you find a wife down there,
You
man.
found the wife, and so again, so my family is a wonderful. And the one thing that, as you talked about, serving and just matter of having the opportunity to serve in the church, and like see the beauty of my family, they brought me closer to Christ, and so
Mm.
that was another important part and a beautiful part, because on Sundays I used to go to church, and then after church I used to go golfing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I made it. It was between golfing and going to church, and most of the time I was on the course. But I thank God as I matured, and again as I got
He
closer
said
to Christ,
maturity, right?
Yep. As I matured, my maturity and got closer to Christ, it's a beautiful thing. So I have an amazing family, and so I'm so thankful for them, and so that's it's a blessing.
Yeah, and and I got some pictures here.
Yep. Yep.
My wife. Yeah.
That's my babe right there. My wife right there. And the thing is, it's a beautiful thing as you see as we grow together. And one thing I want to say, Lowe's and Patrice, we look up to you and see how you and Patrice have lived your life, and so it has been a blessing as knowing having you as a friend and having you as a role model and a model of what family is all about. As you know, you really invest in your family, your children, so we're following that model that you have set as we continue to grow and continue to grow together. So it's good to have good role models to look up to and to good role models to be part of.
Well, we appreciate that, man, and yeah, we definitely appreciate that. And let's remember that this is interactive. So if you have a question or comment, I see we've got a lot of comments up here, and a lot of people that joined us. Pastor Cornell is on there, and we got many others that I've seen up there. I see my sister-in-law Dee Dee. Yeah, of course, we've seen the pastor up there.
Yeah.
I hope she didn't leave the building for real, but
No, she's here.
oh man, but yeah. Um, the thing is, let's talk a little bit about the in regards to the family and the whole process of faith.
Oh,
Talk about faith and then transition into education, the importance of faith, because family, faith, and education is key. So yeah.
the one thing I'm blessed. I have it all. I have the faith part again as one thing. As you know, my wife is the pastor of Pentecost Deliverance, and faith is really important for us. We believe we are believers and strong believers. So we believe uh, that in prayer, we believe that uh, God can do anything for you, and so that faith is really important for our family because we are truly believers, and so you have to have faith, and I think that's so important. I think that's what's missing in our world today is that faith part and believing and being a believer. Because again, if you don't have faith, what do you have? And so, one thing that our family is big on is faith and believing in God and practicing it. And so, one thing that we hope to see when you see us, you see God in us, and we try to live our life accordingly to that. And so, matter of fact, we in church on Sunday. That's what it's all about. Is church, church on
Mm.
Sunday. There's nothing else, but it's church and really as believers. And so and then the education part. My wife, she has her master's in education. She was a former school teacher, and that's one thing we continue to instill in our boys is education. Uh,
Mm.
to continue education and not only just continue but do well and do well and about excellence. And so one thing we talk about in our household is if you're going to do something at the best of your ability. And so education is so important because I think it's important that again that you can't do anything without education. And so that's the part that we believe in faith and education will take you a long way. And so we want to make sure that we continue to instill that in our family, and we talk about that as well.
Yeah, and yeah, that is so true. I mean, you talking about in life, you talking about foundational principles,
Yes.
importance of family, importance of faith, importance of education, and you you transition, in terms of from college to and playing sports and going to college, and then transitioning into a career. What was your thought process when you were thinking about what you were going to choose to do after you finished college or playing sports?
Originally, I wanted to be a broadcaster.
Okay.
Originally, yep.
WBLS.
Yes, yeah, 92.5 in San
Yeah.
Diego. And so that's what I really wanted to do. I wanted it to be a broadcaster, but then as I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club in San Diego, and then I found the love of working with young people. And so I remember my first director was Mr. Curry at the Canto Boys and Girls Club, and I was so impressed with him of running the Boys and Girls Club, and I had the opportunity to work there as a youth worker. And then my love continued to working with young people. And I thought the Boys and Girls, I knew the Boys and Girls Club made a difference. And so when the opportunity came, when I went to college, there was a Boys and Girls Club in Corvallis, Oregon, that I worked at while I was playing football. And then um, after I finished work there, and then worked for the Albany Boys and Girls Club in Oregon, and then transferred up to Portland Boys and Girls Club. And so, um, and then after working there for about 10 years, there was opportunity to come back home to work for the San Diego Boys and Girls Club. And so I ran my club that I grew up for 2 years. And that's the time when I met Kimmy, and then had the opportunity to transfer from San Diego to New York, because originally I wanted to work at
Mm-mm-mm.
the national office in Atlanta. And so, but the opportunity came to work in Connecticut. So all my experience and career has been in youth development, over 30 years in youth development. I worked for the Y for the summertime. And so I just fell in love having the opportunity to make an impact in young people, and being a mentor to our young people across the country. So it's been a blessing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, awesome experience. As you know, man, Anthony, I mean, when you look at his resume, which is extensive, particularly in the Boys and Girls Club, man. I mean, he mentioned a few of them, a few Boys and Girls Club. He
Mhm.
was traveling through the Boys and Girls Club, uh, which I think is powerful, man. And then a national trainer for 17 years,
Yeah.
assisting the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, in the training more than 35,000 staff members and program volunteers, and I mean, even doing some urban youth international stuff with the
Mhm.
Bronx. I mean, yeah, yeah, just extensive. So we were talking, as we transitioning to the importance of investing in kids, and I want many of you know before as we get started here that in the near future here, I mean in the near future,
Yeah.
because Anthony Anthony's been over 30 years, and he didn't include growing up in the Boys and Girls Club. That adds to it when I include the 27 years of it as an executive director of the Boys and Girls Club, and development director of the Boys and Girls Club, and the time that I worked at the Boys and Girls Club as a
Mhm.
counselor. We've probably been involved with youth for about 50 years or
Yep.
more, involved with youth. So when we talk about uh, youth development, and we talk about investing in kids, most of, if not all of our life has been about investing in kids. I mean, for me, uh, somebody invested in me, right? And then you see that sign up there say, if you don't invest now,
Yep.
right? Invest now or pay later. You see those cuffs at the end. You got to make an investment into kids. You have to make an investment in young people, right? Every single moment of the day, you must be investing, right? And so when people say it takes a village, I mean, I can personally remember leaving my house, right, and have somebody in the village
Yep.
telling me what I shouldn't I should do and what I shouldn't do. I will never forget walking with some friends of mine, and I'm being a follower, but we were just walking up the street, and I'll never forget Mr. Burt's. He was the shoe shine guy. He was used to shoe shine your shoes, Mr. Burt's. And some of my friends, they would, saying not too good words. And he would pop out the store, said, "Man, you guys need to watch your mouth out there. I know your mother,
Yeah.
yeah, or I know your father." And so it took a village, somebody to stand up when they seen kids that are not even their kids, right? And they're willing to step up and make an investment in that kid,
Yeah.
right? And that was an investment for me because I still remember it, man. I'm 65 years old, and I still remember Mr. Burt's, right?
Mhm.
I still remember Miss Hall, right? Who told on me all them times, man, got me in trouble. But but so it's great getting to know you, Anthony, and others out there getting to know your story, getting to know who you are. And I don't know. Do you know? Uh, let's see. How many? I'm sure there's a number of them out there, but I don't know many African Americans in regards to training and helping other organizations, particularly in our communities, helping them grow. Um, I know that there are a lot of other cultures who are, who are doing training and youth development, and people pay them a whole lot of money
Mhm.
to do that. Um, and we have been talking about sharing our experience,
Yes.
sharing our knowledge, and the things that we learned over the years on how to grow youth organizations, right?
Yes.
And so let's take probably the remainder of the time to talk about um, thoughts around youth development and all the things that are happening today. Um, and we're going to be doing a few trainings,
Yes.
a few starting out with the overview of youth development training for organizations that are looking to grow their organizations from soup to nuts, from
Yeah.
top to bottom. And it's for us, right? It's crazy. We don't get the $1 million club,
Right.
right? We don't walk in there and the budget is $2 million and
Mhm.
your facility is excellent and all you got enough resources to pay your workers and your board members are just amazing. Uh, we go into organizations that have to be built from the bottom up. And
Mhm.
so in that way, we know the struggles of what it takes in order to build a youth organization and to develop a youth organization. So let's talk a little bit about, the state of where we are.
Okay.
Talk in your mind and how you heard me say in the beginning in regards to what's happening with young people today and these tragedies. Talk a little bit about how you feel about that and how in regards to youth development, some of the foundational things that we can begin to do.
Like you said, it's a tragedy to seeing what's going on with our youth today, and some um, with the issues that's taking place and how we losing our young people early. And so it's sad to see that our young people have to go through this. And so as we have been talking about how we can make a difference, how we can make an impact. There's organizations that's making an impact, but again, we have to. How can we make it on a larger scale? And so that we try to save all our young people and help them, guide them, and give them directions. And so, um, as we have been talking about, how can we help organizations really strengthen their their capacity, like I said, uh, from the beginning to the end on different levels. And so the one thing is that how can we continue to invest in our young people, and how can we continue to give them a voice, and what are some of the opportunities that we can help them to get to where they want to go. And so when we start talking about investing in youth, the first we got to invest in the people that we bring who are working with our youth. I think that's important. The people that we put them in front of, and make sure they have the fortitude and understand that this is a long term journey of her helping young people rather than a short term journey. And so, as if we can get people to understand the long term of how you can make an impact from when they're small all the way till they get older, that you can make a difference and be a mentor. And I think that's so important as we talk about servant leadership. That's what it's all about. Is how can as an adult serve our young people and help them grow, because we're losing them at a large rate. Some on their own, and some because of somebody else. And so I think that's important, and that it needs to be addressed. And one thing, as we talked about, Lo, so how can we be a servant to other organizations to help them and guide them from the different levels, from is the executive level to fundraising, to youth development, to volunteers, of coming in and help them and guide them and support them. And so um, I think that if we can get more people to invest in youth development, because youth development is so important in schools, in churches, and the community at whole, that we can make a difference and we can see a change.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that because this is a conversation we've been having, right? And if I can, yeah, because I think in my tenure, at the Boys and Girls Club, or even when I started out with youth development in sports,
Hmm.
with the hoop school in Albany, New York. Uh, one of the critical parts is who you hire
Yeah.
to work with kids. That's a very critical part, right? Because whatever your vision and your mission is for that sports organization or for that youth organization, it starts with the people you have volunteering and the people who you hire,
Yes.
right? But I want to go in front of that
Hmm.
because this is key. The key to youth development is number one is home development, right?
Yes.
Family is first, right? And now, if the family is not developing, because the first Boys and Girls Club,
It's at home.
the first YMCA, right?
Mhm.
Uh, you know, the first school is in the home,
Yes.
right? And so whether it be a part of a home that has a mom and a dad in it, right? Or a home that has a single parent,
Hmm.
right? Uh, they a single parent can do well because my mom raised four kids, right, by herself,
Yeah.
and then this is when youth development starts at home, and then it starts in the organization you now put them in,
Hmm.
right? And like Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCA's, and other youth agencies, right? So that becomes extremely important. Now we don't become the family at the youth organization, right? We become the support to a family, right? We don't become the mother or father, right? We become the support of a mother and father and the support of that family. So yeah, continue, man. I just wanted to put that in terms of laying the foundation.
Oh, you hit it right on the head, because some families and parents think that schools are supposed to raise their children, and think that the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA or a community organization supposed to raise their children, and that's not so. It starts. We are here to support what you're already doing, and so that's the main thing for and some for parents have to understand. We're not here to take over your job. We're here to support what you're doing, and if we can help you along the way in helping you uh, raise your son or daughter, that's the icing on the cake, because we don't want to take over, because
Right.
we have our own family we have to raise, and sometimes um, they kind of get it twisted that we're supposed to raise their sons and daughters. That's not true. We're supporting you, and like you said, Lowe's, it starts at home. It starts
Yeah.
at home from that's where youth development starts. And if we can help you and support you and provide resources for you for your son and daughter, that's what we're here for. And so that's the thing, it's just matter of most families don't understand that. So they drop their son and daughter over and say, hey, it's yours. You take them.
Yeah.
And but our job, yes, but we're gonna give it back. That was my favorite part of when I was in working in youth development, is seeing them when they walked in the door and seeing them when they left,
Mm.
and then they come back. And
Right.
so that's the good thing. And saying, knowing that, hey, we have helped and guide you and give and helping you, giving the young people some directions and some opportunities. And that's the thing in youth development does, giving our young people opportunities they probably hadn't experienced before. It goes
Mm.
back to when I said I used to go to the Clippers game. If I didn't get those tickets free, we didn't get it free, we probably wouldn't have went to the Clippers game. And so that gave us the opportunities to go see a professional sporting events when otherwise we probably wouldn't have the opportunity to do it. And
Mm.
so and so that might help a young person. Hey, I want to become an athlete, or I want to become a general manager, or I want to become a coach, or work in the ticket office. So that it helped to expose us to different opportunities that's out there in the world that we probably wouldn't have known. And so that's the thing when we start talking about youth development, for organizations to expose our young people to opportunities they probably wouldn't have done on their own, or their family couldn't provide that. Just like education, going to college, when we take the kids on college tours and you have the opportunities to see the universities and the campuses of colleges. And now that opened up, hey, you know what? I can do this. I can go to college. Oh, this ain't nothing. I can do the same. Or it inspired me to go to Howard, to go to Grambling, or go to Yale, or go to, Columbia. So those are the opportunities as we talk about development, exposing our young people to things that otherwise they wouldn't have the opportunity to accomplish.
Right. And then we got a couple of comments here. Pastor Barber, he said, you should be shouting that from you should be shouting that from the rooftop in every state of America.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then we have a question here. You know, how do we keep youth encouraged today when they think things like school, grocery stores, churches, and others shooting violent
right,
episodes is in the community and the nation? How do we help? How do we help our youth feel safe again? I think we both can. Well, you want me to start
yeah,
off? Yeah.
yes,
Uh, earlier, earlier there was a slide I had, and in that slide, in terms of youth development, right, it said safety
mhm,
and security,
yes,
right? And if I can add to safety, security, fun, right? Fun and learning,
yeah,
right? Um, when we think of boys and girls clubs, or I think of the youth organizations or sports organizations, number one, no one's going to give their child to you if, number one, they don't feel their child is going to be safe,
correct.
right? And number two, that they're secure.
Hmm.
Until there's safety and security, there is no fun,
Correct.
right? And then if there's no safety, no security, and there's no fun, there's no learning,
Yeah. You
right?
hit it
So
right
when
on
you
the head.
right, so if you dealing with youth development, right, it starts right there. That's the foundation laid, right? Is my child safe? Is he or she secure? Is it? Are they having fun? And are they learning?
Yeah.
I mean, so that's the and so to answer what Dee Dee was saying, or Deirdre was saying there, if you don't have those things, right, young people are always going to feel that there's a threat of
Yes.
something happening to them. You know, anything to add to her? Show that question again, real quick.
And I want to add is just make sure that they feel secure with the relationships of the person that's working with them. Is that relationship that they have of the person that's working with that young person? Because again, that goes hand in hand. Because again, if you uh, establish a relationship with that young person, they're gonna have fun. They're gonna feel safe. They're gonna have all those other indicators you talked about. And so it's that relationship building that you need to establish with that young people, because we can go back and we can remember our time in high school, and there's always one person you're gonna always talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and because they built that relationship, you felt secure, you felt safe around, you had fun around them. And so to go along with the others, I would add that relationship that you establish with that young person makes a world of difference, so they can feel safe and feel secure around. And so they know that if anything happened, you're going to protect them at all costs as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to strengthen that, man, because we say this, and I've known this since I was a little kid, right? If you take a caring adult and put him in the life of a child, you will change the child forever. And I think that's what Anthony was
Yeah.
talking about in regards to relationship, right? Many organizations have tremendous facilities,
Hmm.
right? And you can open up a facility, right? You can take out a ball. Now, this is when the key. You can take out a ball in a gym and you can throw it in the gym, right? You can take out the pool stick, the pool ball, the ping pong ball, put it on the table, right? And tell the kids to go play, right? But when a caring adult gets into with that child
Hmm.
and helps them learn how to play that game and spends quality time showing them that they care about them, and because anything else, if you put a kid on a pool table, we say, okay, here's the sticks, and they just banging the balls around. Well, you got to teach them about, okay, stick is dangerous, balls are dangerous, safety, security. Let me show you how to play this game. Now we're gonna have fun,
Correct.
right? And then now good wholesome competition comes in. So now you competing,
Hmm.
which is a silent. If you're playing pool, is a silent code of conduct,
Yes.
right? If you got a person who's good at pool and a person who's not so good at pool, right? And somebody's up next, I got winners, right? They don't want to see the good person win. So the silent code of conduct is you don't make noise when somebody's taking a shot. You're not yelling and screaming at them, because that's not common courtesy,
Right.
right? So there's some things that you could teach in the game room. There's some things that you teach in the gym, right? And in those relationships that you build with them, right? We've had many kids come to us that had problems in school,
Hmm.
right? And this is to answer to Dee Dee's question too, that had problems in school, right? Well, and problems that happened in the community that will come and meet with a caring adult that they built a relationship with in an organization, right? And because there's a sense of trust there,
Yeah.
they tell them how they feel, right?
Yeah.
And so when you tell that caring adult how they feel, now they can address that kid's situation either to them or to their family
Correct.
about how that kid is feeling about the shooting that just happened.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to go to school because sometimes kids don't come home and say, "Hey, mom, dad, I'm afraid." But he may tell his coach, he may tell his art teacher, he may tell a game room person,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what we do. We build trust, right? And so we help kids along with their families transition through these things that are happening, these tragedies that are happening in their communities.
And that comes around engaging
Hmm.
and being engaged and meeting the young person where they're at. And so that's the thing is that we need to, as you say, meet them where they're at and then take them to the next level. Because again, that is part of just the relationship building you establish and then engage in what they like to do. And same thing in the STEM programs, you will find out, hey, that these person like to work with their hands and they like to solve things, and so and through those different programs that you have established that relationship with them would take them to the next level, and so you would get a chance to find out how they're feeling and what they're going through, and then how we can again refer and help them through those situations that they may be going through.
Oh yeah. How many times has a kid come to the Boys and Girls Club right after school, right? And they've been bullied,
Hmm.
right? And they
Yeah.
tell you,
Yeah.
right? Now you're calling a parent, and now we're getting on a call with a parent and getting to the school
Yeah.
to saying that this kid is being bullied. Because if a kid can't express or communicate what they are feeling, right, that's where you get into all kind of mental health situations,
Yes.
anxiety, stress, and down the road that leads to kids thinking about. Of course, everybody's talking about it today. Now kids are thinking about like, oh well, I'm going to take my life,
Suicide. Yeah.
right? But if they feel like they can talk to their parent, or they can talk to their coach, or they can talk to a staff person at an organization, then you're going to change that child's lives, that
Because
life.
you're an advocate for them.
Hmm.
And that's what they look for, and that's what you should be, going back to servant leadership. Again, you're an advocate and to talk on their behalf and to help on their behalf. This is what this young person is going through. How can we help them? What services we can help them provide for them? What services we can provide for their families for this young person to get to the stage of life? Because again, it's the stage of life we all have to go through. But again, sometimes we're the one that's advocating for them on their behalf of making sure that this young person is doing well mentally, physically, and so that's the key right there. That you
Hmm.
have to be advocate. You have to make sure you're advocate for that young person.
Yeah, and then the thing is, and I don't want anybody to take this wrong, right? I don't want anybody to take this wrong, right? Because everybody should get paid what they're worth, right? But the most important thing when you're dealing with kids is not you thinking about how much you're gonna get paid, right? Oh well, I'm not working hard in the game room, man. You only paying me you know, $10 an hour. So you ain't paying me 15. So I'm not gonna watch that kid, man. I don't care what that kid is doing, right?
Mhm.
Because you're thinking about number one, you're not thinking about servant leadership, you're
Yeah,
thinking about you.
correct.
And I say when you become a servant leader and you help people, people start to recognize you. You're not looking for fame, but
Mhm.
that's what happens when you help people, right? People recognize you when you help people, right? Not people recognize you and then maybe I'll help some people,
Correct.
right? So we want to digress for a minute because we're going to run a little bit over here tonight because but we want to pop your wife in here and because we got a couple of comments that we want to talk about. You got to pop your wife in here. So, hey, now he was talking about you. Uh-oh. So
I heard.
So we know you're not going back to Indiana. I mean, San Diego. So talk about your husband for a moment.
Well, can you hear me?
And welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me good?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show as a little sidekick to my husband. And congratulations on your second season.
Yes.
I will
Thank you.
tell you this. Going back to San Diego was not part of the original deal. So when we were dating, Anthony said to me, that he always wanted to go back to Atlanta to where the Boys and Girls Club national office is. So somewhere in the back of my mind, I always figured, okay, somewhere in this marriage, we're going to wind up in Atlanta. And as fate would have it, Atlanta is nowhere in the picture, which I'm really happy about. But the truth be told, he's I can't believe that he remembered the outfit that I had on. So he definitely got brownie points, for that. So at least maybe I will think about it.
Okay, that's good thought. I thought about it.
Right.
Oh man.
But I'm so happy to be married to him. He's such a wonderful man. And I tell people all the time that God created him just for me. He was in California and God used his aunt and his uncle and his sisters out there to help to shape and mold him. And he has been an outstanding husband and a superb father. So my life has certainly been enriched and blessed because of him.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And
I paid her to say that, so
I don't think you have enough money, but okay. No, that was awesome, man. I mean, because I think that Anthony and all that he's done and his passion, man, I don't understand why he's not running an organization. I mean, it's unfortunate that I'm gonna say this, that black men have to struggle when it comes, and we've seen people who were lower than us on the totem pole in other cultures who just go right by us and end up running organizations. I mean, and he is excellent in his ability to train. I was really looking forward to it. One time I was, man, I had dreamed that Anthony and I would be running as a part of the Boys and Girls Club. I thought that we could help the club really go to its next level. Because I needed, administratively, I needed a partner, that would work together in order to move the Boys and Girls Club forward. Because as you know, you need a team, right? You need a team. You need the right people on the bus and the right seat on the bus. And I thought that he would have been the right person on the club bus, and he would have been excellent right there, side by side, making that thing go to the next level, and he's still young, still talented, and I don't know why people are not running. I mean, with what he knows, with what I know, I don't know why people are not running to grab these guys who have all these skills and gifts, and we just don't seem to get an opportunity like that. So but
it's not too late, Lowe's. We got some work to do.
Oh, we about to get rolling. We're not waiting for them.
Yeah, and
The days of waiting for people is over.
Yes.
We have stuff. We got to get out there and do it ourselves.
this is exactly absolutely right. You know, sometimes when the people and or the organizations you know that we really love will not do the things that they should do, other people, you know, will see the value and take it and run, you know, with it. And so you're absolutely right. You both are you know, absolutely powerful, powerful, powerful. And you know, you were talking, Lowe's, about the you know, the folks that are working in some in the game rooms, and sometimes if the money, you know, doesn't match, you know, their responsibilities, that they don't work as hard. And when you're a true servant, and you both know this, when you're a true servant, not only is does it come from your heart, but those kids, they know the real deal when the real deal is sitting in front of them.
Hmm.
Children are the best judges of character.
Oh
And
yeah,
so that is the reason why they will go to someone whose heart and soul is into what they're doing, as opposed to someone who is only there for the check,
that's
because
right.
they know.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And the piggyback of that, that's where when you see, I think, I hate to say it, is our people today. They looking for that dollar first.
Hmm.
They looking for the money first, rather than looking at the value of what their job entails. And it goes back to, I know Lois was talking about organization. What's their mission? And understanding their mission, the mission of the organization, and the true mission of working with young people. Because again, this is not a quick rich job. You got to put some time in. I started in the games room, and that's
Hmm.
where, when you talk about starting at in the games room, that's where I started. And then somebody saying something to me and say, "You know what? He got something.
Mm.
I can work with him. I can build him." And so that's the thing. It's just a matter of just starting where you're at, and then and work your way up. And so nowadays people want to come in and be a exec, just not knowing what it's all about, but want to start up top. And so that's not how you do it in youth development. You gotta get into the trenches and understand the trenches of working with the young people, getting your hands dirty, and being where they're at, and working with them. And so that's so important.
Yeah. Well, Pastor Kim, I want to thank you, man. You just for popping on here,
Thank
you
you.
know, and yeah, you do. You got the man. So
I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. He makes me better. You know, he makes me better in every area of my life. I'm telling you, he's the real deal.
yeah,
Yep.
I know he is.
What's
No,
up?
no, I know he is because we like spirits.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, we got that same spirit, that same light,
Mhm.
that same frequency about what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So again, thank you for popping on.
You are
Thanks, Mick.
welcome. Oh,
All
you're
right.
welcome.
Love you.
Hey, did I earn a good dinner tonight?
Yes, you did.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Yeah. I do want to
Oh,
comment. There's a couple of your wife is amazing. Yeah,
yes. And
yeah.
so again, she said I make her, but she make me better, and just the great thing, and we encourage each other, and so that's a blessing. And talking about, as we're talking about couples, and so it's great when you have couples where we can feed off each other, and so it's a blessing.
Right. And I think we got I don't know if it's a question or a comment. Kevin Bunch. Right. I don't know if you can put that back up there real quick. Hour and a half goes real fast.
It
So,
does.
uh, Kevin Bunch, man, I want to say hello to my man Kevin. He's the president of YCOP
Okay.
in Mount Vernon, and a alumnus of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. Yeah. So it says yes, all kids are not at the same level, and it says they have to observe them so they know them, and then engage them from where they're at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that is true. Yeah, you do have to observe them as well. But the training, some people don't know what it is to observe. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
when you hire people, that's the unique thing about youth development is that you have to have people who have the ability and insight to want to get to know kids. I mean, and talk about how we establish relationships with young people, and that's so important. And how we engage them, right, is real key,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's why you can be in a supermarket and a kid is waving his hand like crazy
Yeah.
because they see you, or they see one of your staff members, and because they feel they feel safe, they feel secure, their trust, you've gained their trust, and they're having fun. So every time they see you, they
Yeah.
go, you know.
Yeah.
That is cool. Observing is extremely important. But I just think that getting to know kids, every day, saying hello every day they come in the club, being consistent
Yeah.
with those kids when they come in the club, learning their name,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Hey, don't do it. You got to learn all the kids' names, and there may be 50, 60, 70 kids. You got to learn their names and call them by name, and all those kind of things, and establish real strong relationships.
And one thing, Lowe's, about youth development, and I say this in my training all the time. Your job is not to be a friend. You can be friendly, but
Hmm.
not to be a friend. Our job is to be a mentor, because a mentor would tell you what's going right and wrong. Well, a friend might go along with you. And so again, it's important for in youth development is that depends that being friendly and being a mentor rather than being a friend. That's where we get ourselves in trouble. And
Hmm.
so it's important that they understand the boundaries that, again, I talk about engagement, the boundaries you have to be conscious of and be aware of when working with you. And so, and then as as then they establish when you have to tell them no, they understand. Yeah, I
Hmm.
mean no,
Oh
rather than
yeah, yeah,
as your friend. They go, oh, he was just playing. No, when I say no, I mean no. And when I
right.
say certain specific stuff that's going to help you and support you and guide you, you understand I'm coming from a place in a loving manner and not just a friendly manner per se.
Hmm.
And so that's a key thing when we talk about engaging in our young people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely, because I mean, if you make everybody a friend,
Mhm.
then they don't know when you have cut the line off,
Correct.
and you have to now be disciplined,
Hmm.
and give them structure. Then they still think you doing the friend,
Yep.
you know, and yeah, that's so important. I mean, there's so much to this, man. It's so much to this, and I think Dakari had mentioned something. He said, are those guys that's qualified putting themselves out there for a chance to be seen? Yeah, I think to answer that question, I think people we well, I can speak for me. I mean, Anthony can speak for himself. Yeah, we are qualified
Yep.
to to do the work. Um, and it's just opportunity,
Yep.
um, getting the chance. Uh, and we're starting to see a little bit more of that in regards to and I understood this from the first time I came in the Boys and Girls Club, and as an executive director, because there was only a handful of boys and African American or black um,
Exactly.
executive directors in the movement.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to remember his name, Lou Dantzler.
New dancer, Los
uh,
Angeles.
Los Angeles, the Challengers Boys and Girls Club, and he started Boys and Girls Club in in a backyard in a van with 12 kids.
His pickup truck.
Yep, and a pickup truck with 12 kids in Los Angeles. And I mean, in the worst neighborhood, right? And he grew that to almost, well, more than 4, 5, 6,000 members, right? Some 20, 25 years later, and during the riots in California, right? They tore up the whole neighborhood, right? But they did not touch that Boys and Girls Club.
Correct.
Right? Did not touch it. Lou was the man. I mean, he was the man. And when I first came in, they started SOAP, the Society for Professional, the Society for African American Professionals in the Boys and Girls Club movement, right? And we were meeting in the back room.
Yep.
Right. You remember that?
Yep.
He would have a suite or something like that. And he would bring 30, 40, 50, really the movement in regards to African American at the time was part-timers.
Yep.
Right. We weren't even getting full-time jobs back then. And I was fortunate to come into a situation where I was an executive director. And they were saying, look, man, don't let nobody give you anything. Right. That was the thing they were pushing. Hey, man, you in the game room, man. Now you want to be, you said it earlier, you want to be executive director.
Yeah.
Right. No, you got to be qualified to be an executive director. You need to know what that takes. And then you said, right, start in the game room and started to see the process of developing through training and certification or getting a degree in order to rise up the ladder so that you can become an executive director if you choose to, right? Because you can't be defended and somebody can't fight for you if you're not credentialed.
Correct.
Right? If you're not credentialed and have experience, right? And I learned that over my 20 some years being with Lou and many other guys there, that you need to be qualified. That's why I used to go to the regional conference and I used to go to the national conference, and I should take all those trainings, those executive trainings, to learn about every aspect of developing a youth organization. We make sure, right, that nobody's going for a position unless they qualify for that position. And then we can fight for you. Because if you're not qualified for you in the game room, you don't have no degree, you don't have a high school diploma, you don't have any of those things, we cannot fight for you.
Correct.
Right? But we can get you the training, what's necessary to be certified, to be credentialed, and then we can fight for you.
Correct.
Yeah. So and so Anthony, I know I said we were gonna be going over a little bit, but I do want you to talk to me before we get off here, right? Hour and a half go fast. So before we get off, talk to the audience about the type of trainings. I know the trainings that I've done in particularly, but you were a national trainer, right? And we've learned a lot of national stuff. So talk about some of the work or training that you were doing and that we're getting ready to do in regards to helping youth organizations, particularly small organizations that want to grow, right? And even, medium organizations that want to grow bigger, right? Or large organizations that want to be better. So talk about some of the trainings before we get off.
Real quick, I know a lot of the trainings that I have conducted over my years is staff development training of looking at your staff, as Lo said, getting the right person on the bus, looking at their qualification, looking at their skill sets, looking at what they can bring. Because what I always say, when I come to a picnic, when I'm invited to a picnic, if they have chicken, I don't want to bring chicken. I want to bring something different. And so looking at the skill sets and the staff that you hire, and making sure they have the proper training and understanding of working with youth. A lot of my training is in youth development, specific in prevention programs, I have done numerous trainings in prevention programs of drug and alcohol and abstinence. Also, trainings in working with our young men. We had they still have the Passport and Manhood Male Initiative programs. Looking at trainings and working in with recreation, sports and recreations, especially in the games room. Looking at the specific games that our young people are are playing with the art of board games is seeing like has been lost, but the board games is so important of young people talking to each other rather talking at each other when you're talking about the digital games, because the
Mm.
digital games are talking at each other and the board games are talking to each other. So coming in and looking at the different activities that you run in your organization and how to develop them and what's missing out of that. So those are some of the trainings that over the course of my experience of working with staff development. I know I'm getting ready to fly to Idaho here in a couple of weeks and to do a training in Idaho on the youth development and working with their staff on team building, on icebreakers, of engaging in young people. And so those are some of the key trainings that I concentrate on is that engagement from staff to youth and looking at their skill sets and how to help them and guide them and take them to the next level.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Man, this has been fun.
Yes.
Yeah, this has been fun. And I'm looking forward to our partnership. And, we Anthony and I were talking for several weeks now.
Hmm.
And just talking about how and I've already said that sometimes we don't get the best organizations, but we make the best out of those organizations.
We do.
And we help those organizations to grow. And it's not a one size fit all,
Nope.
right? And what works for one organization may not work for another. You have to figure out what your strengths are, what your needs are, in order to be an effective youth organization. And yeah, we can help with some of those things, or how you thinking about board development. what's
Yeah.
what's the best practices for board development?
Hmm.
What's the best practice for getting your board to give? uh what's the best practice for human resources, building human resources? And what's the best programs that you need to have in your organization now, based on the need that's in either in the home or in a community? um, how do I continue to raise enough funds to expand my facility, or grow my facility,
Hmm.
or clean up my facility? I mean, there's so much to know. um, is your club, is not your club, is your organization, is your church, is your organization, is it at the development stage, or is it at the excellent stage?
Hmm.
How do I get from developing to excelling in my organization? And we've been through it, man. In these last 30 or more years, we've been through it all. That
Yeah.
and we hope that when you hear from us in a few weeks, we're hoping to do an youth overview of youth development training in the next, hopefully within sometime in the middle of June or
Yep.
something like that, and then progress throughout the summer, so we can start to think about not only this year of how you grow, but how do you grow over the next 5 years? We got
Yeah.
to stop thinking about day to day, week to week, year to year, and we need to start to strategically think about what's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years, what's going to happen in the next 5 to 25 years, right? And one of the things I used to think about all the time, right, when they started the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon in 1912,
Mm.
right? Did they think about the next 100 years?
Right.
Right. And so we need to be thinking about the next 100 years. And it says that in some cultures, right, they think they raise their kids and develop their kids 100 years before they are born.
Yeah.
Right. And we need to be thinking strategically outside the box if we are going to develop the kind of young people that's going to be able to not manage, but overcome the things that we are experiencing today in regards to trauma in our young people. So, Anthony, I'm going to give you the your final words or comments that you could say to, anybody in the area of youth development. And then I'm going to say my final saying, and we're going to jump off here.
First, I want to say, Lois, I thank you. And it's an honor for being on your podcast. I remember many years you said launch.
Yeah, definitely.
Launch. And I see you have, and I remember that. And so it has been great seeing you as back. I think that was like 5-10 years ago when you said launch.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's coming to existence. And so I have that written down in a book that I have. Actually, I have it in your book that you wrote, and I remember launch, and you said that you was going to launch, and you did, and I am so happy these last 2 years that you celebrated your 2 years, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to be on your show, your podcast. And for those out there who are looking for somebody to help and support, to guide, please let us know. We are here to, as you talk about servant leaders, that's who we are. We're true servant leaders, and we'll come in to help and support what you're doing and help you take your organization to the next level. And so I'm truly blessed and I'm truly honored that I get a chance to work with Mr. Moore, because he's an icon here in Mount Vernon, and it's great that we can put something together to make a difference. So my hat's off to you. Thank you to you and your wife, Patrice, and has been doing a wonderful job in the city of Mount Vernon of making a difference. And I'm just glad I'm on the bus with you. I'm making that happen.
Yes, sir. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, man. I know you got to travel back home from church from Mount Vernon to Connecticut, so I want to get you on your way. So, but hang on for a moment, and I want to say, look, please, I thank you for your comments. I thank you for your comments. I thank you for your questions. Thank you. I even seen prayers on there. Thank you, Pastor. For your prayers. And look, please continue to pray, man. I mean, for this world. I mean, that's one of the things the Word of God says first. Pray for those who have rule over you. Pray for them first. I pray for this world. I pray for all these nations and these countries. I pray for them every day. I pray for the United States. I pray from people from every state and county and every city and we got villages and hamlets. We got all kind of stuff. Pray for them. I mean, pray, man, that we don't forget God.
Yes.
Right. Because the scripture says when we don't retain God in our knowledge, in our mindset, he turns us over to ourselves.
Yes.
Right. And we become self-destructive. Right. And that's what you're seeing right now. We seeing ourselves self-destruct. Right. But I'm telling you, turn back to God. Right. And let him give you the strategies that's necessary for us to be successful and tear down these walls of racism and division. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you on next week as we have our anniversary show.
Awesome.
God bless you.
God bless you.
All right, Anthony. God bless you.
Thank you.
Love you, man.
Love you back.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Lowe's More, the Blueprint Podcast. Stay connected and follow us at our website, www.lowesmore.com. That's LOWESMOORE.com. You can also join the discussion on Twitter at Lowe's Moore and on Facebook at Lowe's Moore Jr. As always, thank you for pushing your mindset towards a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking portion of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast to stay fully up to date with everything we're up to. Until next time, be kind to yourself and each other.
What they teaching is a joke. I ain't buying it like I'm broke. Insufficient funds for insignificant.